Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at some of the injuries that I've had over the years, from wrist fractures to third degree burns. Am I just accident prone? I'll let you decide. So the go-kart incident. So when I was about 3 years old, I think I was about 3, maybe 4. It's my first memory, to be honest, of childhood. I had a go-kart, which I was told not to use because it was broken. I decided I'd try and push the go-kart, and I think what was broken on it was the front wheel, and what actually ended up happening was the front wheel jammed. I kept going and I smashed my teeth out on the pavement. So that was the start of things to come. So fast forward 10 years later, around about that time, Bowers were absolutely massive in the UK. So Bower roller boots or roller skates, whatever you want to call them, they were literally my mode of transport. I would roller boot to school, which was about 4 miles away. I'd do my paper round on, just go around on them around town of an evening. A bit like skateboarders, but on roller boots. Yeah, so I used to do a paper round, and there was a hill that led to the paper shop, and one morning I thought, oh, I'll go backwards down this hill. And I could go backwards, that wasn't a new thing. But anyway, I get about 3/4 of the way down this hill and I slammed hard. Fractured my wrist, that was in plaster, and I continued to skate on my paper round and everything else with my arm in plaster. And then the day after the plaster came off, I'm going to do my paper round again, and I thought, oh, maybe I could conquer this hill now, you know, like I've improved whilst in plaster. So I had another go, and sure enough I couldn't. So that was another 6 weeks in plaster. So yeah, that was the roller booting saga. So the underpass uppercut. So we'd been out, had a few drinks, as you do. I think I was probably 18, maybe 19. And we're walking through the subway, or the underpass as you call it. And it had like these sort of orange lights on the ceiling, and I thought, for whatever reason, after a few beers, I'll give that a bit of an uppercut. Ooh, and I broke my other wrist. So yeah, that was that. I went home and I thought, oh, that's a bit sore, and woke up in the morning, sure enough it was even worse, and yeah, broken wrist. So that was that. So the ladder incident, this was a bad injury actually. Yeah, my worst in fact. So I fell off a ladder at work, ended up having multiple operations, loads of physio, loads of hydrotherapy. I mean, it was from accident to sort of living a normal life again was years, probably about 3 years. And it's caused me problems on and off ever since. So yeah, that was the ladder incident. So the Superman. So after I'd had the ladder incident and I'd gone through all the operations and I got back on my feet, I got into mountain biking as a low impact exercise. So I'm out on a mountain bike ride one day, sort of around autumn time where all the leaves are falling from the trees, which I think is what helped me, to be fair. So I'm going down this trail. Before I know it, I've done an endo, so I've gone over the bars, and I'm now literally Supermaning through all of these fallen leaves that are on the floor. I'm somehow managing to skip in between all of the tree stumps, and I'm literally just going through the leaves. Thought nothing of it. next morning I couldn't even tie my shoelaces. If I sneezed, it was agony, and I had broken 3 ribs, and that took months to heal, months. So the next one is another mountain biking incident. So we were in the Lake District. We'd gone up there for three or 4 days riding, I think it was, and we'd done some pretty decent riding. We've been up Skiddaw. We've done loads of sketchy trails where by rights I probably should have had a minor accident, but I hadn't. So we're basically on the last trail back to the campsite. I don't know if you've ever been to the Lake District, but there is loads of rocky terrain. So I go round sort of like a berm on the trail. There's some rock that's jutting out, and I just catch the outer edge of my shoe, my sort of outer 3 toes. And that is pretty much up there with the most pain I've ever experienced. We had one more ride planned for the next day, and I just couldn't do it. It was just agony. I should say that it was on my bad leg as well. It was on my right leg, which is fused, so that obviously played a part. But yeah, that took months again until it felt right. And that's one of those things now, if I just tap that corner of that foot on the sofa or the door or anything like that, that's sit down for 5 minutes. But yeah, mountain biking, eh? So this next mountain biking one again was at the end of doing a long trail. So I'm basically riding down the flat path back to the car park, and out of nowhere, and I still don't know what happened, I went back and inspected the trail, but out of nowhere I endoed over the handlebars, and I ended up chipping my elbow. Yeah, so that was in a sling for a month, 5 weeks, I think. And when you're a window cleaner, that's not ideal. Oh. Not ideal. But yeah, that was the first elbow chip, put it that way. Okay, so I'm working at a customer's house one day. I walk round their side path, and I'd already walked down there a couple of times, and I thought that is lethal. Anyway, on the third walk round, yeah, I went down and I landed on my other elbow, and I chipped that one too. So yeah, that was another 6 weeks in a sling. I think I had actually a sort of cast initially, but yeah, it was a sling, and I had to get someone to work with me and do all the high stuff, and I was basically window cleaning with one arm during that time. So yeah, all good fun. So the great GoPro fire. So what had happened in this one, I had been out mountain biking, and where I used to live, we used to have a balcony that was separate from the flat. So you'd walk out of the front door across the common way, and it was kind of like the old-fashioned laundry drying area. So I'd got back from mountain biking, and I was sitting on there. I was just looking at the footage. I'm self-employed. My phone rang, so I went indoors and I left the GoPro on the balcony. I went indoors to take some notes, details from the customer, and to be honest, I forgot about the GoPro. And then I something made me go to my front door, and I looked through the peephole in the front door, and I could see my balcony was glowing, and I nearly walked away. I thought it was the sun. I thought, oh, the sun's coming out. Anyway, something made me go out there, and my balcony is ablaze. At this point, the flames are licking into the neighbours' windows. So I had a quick assessment of what was going on, and I could see the bench, my bag, all this mountain biking stuff was all, really well ablaze. So I picked up the bench and threw it off the balcony. In doing so, I ended up with 3rd-degree burns on my hands and my feet, backwards and forwards to the burns unit in, I think it was Haywards Heath, which is in East Sussex. Backwards and forwards from there every few days. Talked of skin grafts and all this kind of stuff. Thankfully, I didn't have to have a skin graft, but yeah, I mean, that was agony. Yeah, that was my last accident. I mean, I know they say things come in threes. I think I'm well past that. So there you have it, a nice mixed bag of injuries. Stay active and stay safe.